Let's dive right into this explainer. You know that universal, everyday annoyance of having to dig through the Start menu every single time you just want to sign out of your PC? Yeah, we've all been there. You click the Start button, you have to hunt for your tiny profile picture, click again, and finally hit Sign Out. It's just tedious, right? Especially if you do it multiple times a day. Well, today, we're taking those lost seconds back. We're going to build a completely customized, one-click Windows Logout shortcut that just sits right there on your desktop.
But hey, before we actually build this one-click solution, we really need to ask a pretty crucial question about what happens to your apps and your data when you step away from the keyboard. Do you actually know the difference between locking your computer and logging out? It is incredibly common to just use those terms interchangeably, but operationally, Windows treats them as two completely different commands. And honestly, mixing them up can literally cost you your unsaved work.
So, the stakes between these two actions are actually completely different. When you log out, Windows systematically closes every single open application, officially ends your user session, and then kicks you back to the login screen. It essentially wipes the slate clean for the next person. Locking, on the other hand, well, that acts more like a security shield. It throws up the login screen, sure, but behind that screen, your session is still running in the background, and all your work remains perfectly open. Our shortcut today, it's designed for a true, complete logout.
Now here is a quick look at the other power commands Windows uses, just to make absolutely sure we are laser focused on the correct action here. You're probably already familiar with shutdown and restart. Those handle the actual physical power state of the machine, as well as sleep and hibernate, which manage power consumption. But we aren't doing any of those today. Our goal isn't to alter the machine's hardware state at all. It's strictly to quickly clear that active user session so the computer stays powered on and is instantly ready for the very next person to sign in.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, why create a logout shortcut? Second, the basic shortcuts setup. Third, customizing your new icon. Fourth, pinning and keyboard shortcuts. And finally, some IT secrets and troubleshooting.
All right, Section 1, why create a logout shortcut? Let's talk about saving time, saving clicks, and exactly who benefits from completely bypassing those standard Windows menus.
Why go through the trouble of creating a dedicated button for this? Well, whether you're managing a super busy family PC where kids and parents are constantly swapping accounts, maybe you're studying in a dorm or even running an IT help desk, this shortcut is a massive time saver. It is particularly brilliant for fast user switching in classroom systems or, say, computer labs. Because instead of teaching every single user how to navigate nested menus, you just tell them, hey, click the red button on the desktop when you're done. It streamlines the entire workflow and ensures sessions are actually closed out properly, which frees up all those valuable system resources.
Moving right along to Section 2, the basic shortcut setup. Let's get a quick win here, jump into the actual setup, and see just how easily this builds right on your desktop. It takes literally less than a minute. To start things off, you just need a nice, clean view of your desktop. So go ahead and minimize your browser, close your folders, and just find an empty spot on your wallpaper. This empty space is exactly where you're going to initiate the built-in Windows Create shortcut wizard.
Go ahead and give that empty desktop space a right-click. You'll see a context menu pop up. Now, just hover your mouse over the word New, and a secondary menu will appear right next to it. From there, simply select Shortcut. And whether you're running Windows 11, Windows 10, or even going way back to Windows XP, this process is exactly the same.
Now pay close attention to the location field that pops up in the wizard. Normally, when you create a shortcut, you'd use that Browse button to go hunting for a specific file or program buried deep somewhere in your hard drive. But we are entirely skipping that today. Instead, this text box is where we are going to type an actual direct system command.
Right there in that box, you're going to type shutdown.exe, followed by a space and then a / with a lowercase l. That is the /l switch. Let me explain what's actually happening here. Shutdown.exe is the built-in Windows utility that handles power states. But by adding that /l switch, we are explicitly telling that utility to log off the current user, rather than shutting down the whole machine. Once you've typed that exactly, just click Next, give it a name like Sign Out or Log Out, and hit Finish. And boom, you're done. You now have a fully working shortcut sitting right on your desktop. But let's be totally honest here. That default white icon is completely boring. It looks like a generic system file or just a blank piece of paper, and it doesn't exactly scream "click me to sign out."
That brings us to Section 3, customizing your new icon. Let's make it stand out and give this shortcut a much-needed makeover so it actually looks like it belongs on a real power user's desktop. Aesthetics matter, right? especially for something you're going to be clicking every single day.
So to fix this, just right-click your brand new, slightly boring shortcut and select Properties, all the way down at the bottom of the menu. In the window that pops up, look for the Change Icon button. Now, Windows might throw a tiny little warning at you saying that shutdown.exe doesn't contain icons. Just hit OK to bypass that. Doing that opens up a glorious icon menu. Now you can finally swap that dull square for something a bit more intuitive, maybe a red power button, an exit door, an arrow, or even a user silhouette.
But hey, if you want to find the absolute best icons, you kind of need to know exactly where Windows hides them. By default, it opens a repository file called shell32.dll, which is located deep inside your System32 folder. This specific file contains literally hundreds of classic Windows icons that you'll instantly recognize. Or if you're on a newer system and want a sleeker, much more modern aesthetic, you can change the look-in path to imageres.dll. Honestly, that's just a fantastic pro tip for customizing any folder or shortcut on your PC. All right, on to Section 4, pinning and keyboard shortcuts. Let's set up some truly effortless access. We're going to take this off the desktop and put it exactly where your mouse already lives.
Because, look, having it on the desktop is great and all, but what if you have 10 windows open? You'd have to minimize everything just to log out. Instead, right-click that beautiful new custom icon of yours. Depending on your version of Windows, you can select Pin to Taskbar or Pin to Start. Pinning it to the taskbar drops it right at the bottom of your screen so it's visible at all times. That grants you genuine one-click access no matter how many apps you have running.
And if you're a bit of a speed demon who prefers the keyboard over the mouse, there's actually a pretty cool trick for you too. Just open that Shortcuts Properties window again, click inside the box labeled Shortcut key. Now just press a combination you want to use, something like Ctrl plus Alt plus L for logout. Windows will automatically bind that exact hotkey combination. From then on, you don't even need your mouse. If your boss walks in right as it's time to clock out, just hit those 3 keys and your session instantly signs out.
Finally, Section 5, IT secrets and troubleshooting. Let's dive into how to actually scale and troubleshoot this, and look at how IT technicians deploy this exact logic across an entire network. Plus, we'll cover how to fix the most common setup issues you might run into.
If you manage multiple computers, creating a shortcut via the wizard on every single machine gets pretty tedious, right? Well, IT pros often completely bypass the shortcut wizard. Instead, they just open Notepad, paste this raw 2-line code, add echo off, and shutdown.exe/L, and then save the file as logout.bat. By selecting Save as Type, All Files, it creates an executable batch script. You can literally toss that single file onto a flash drive and instantly have a one-click logout button ready to drop onto any computer on the network. Pretty cool.
Now, if you set this up and double-click it, and it fails with an access denied error, don't worry. It usually just means your school or workplace network has group policy restrictions blocking custom executables. Also, if you click it and briefly see a black command prompt window flash on screen, please don't panic. That is completely normal behavior as the shutdown utility triggers in the background. But above all else, please heed this security warning. Remember to save your work before clicking the shortcut to test it. Like we discussed earlier, this command forces your applications to close immediately. It is definitely not going to pause to ask if you want to save that Word document.
You know, the true brilliance of this trick is its universal compatibility. It works absolutely seamlessly on everything from a vintage Windows XP machine all the way up to the very latest builds of Windows 11. So you just set it up once, pin it to your taskbar, and you're completely done. Which leaves us with one final thought to ponder. Now that you have fully bypassed the endless clicking and scrolling of the Start menu, how much time will this simple one-click productivity hack save you over the entire lifetime of your PC?